Welcome to the Pregnancy Loss Podcast, the place I created for moms like us. Pregnancy loss is all-encompassing and creates an overarching theme that runs through our lives forever. We have to learn to live with and beside the grief of losing our baby. We have to learn how to live again, how to parent again, how to engage and interact and be social again, how to communicate effectively to connect with our spouses and significant others. We have to find who we are now. I'm here to empower and inspire you to live a life even with our unique circumstances. We cannot change what happened, but we can grow and use that strength and resilience to create a life that we love. I'm here to share everything I know about grief, motherhood, loss, marriage, friendship, and parenting. I'm here to encourage you to find the beautiful side of grief, the side where we don't have to isolate ourselves or suppress the need to share stories, the side where you have moms just like you to support and encourage you. The side where we become the best versions of ourselves, not in spite of our loss, but thanks to it. Pregnancy loss is devastating, but it can also be an opportunity to reflect on who we were and who we want to become. So join me every Tuesday for a new episode on the Pregnancy Loss Podcast. Let's jump in. Hey friend, I'm so happy you're here. It is going back to school month and everybody is super excited. At least I know my kids are. I am, and a lot of moms I know are. Today's episode, I really want it to be impactful. I want it to be packed with 10 ways to love ourselves after pregnancy loss. And I really want you to hear me and I want you to get something out of this. After you lose a baby, as many of you know, sometimes we hate ourselves. Sometimes we blame ourselves. We're full of guilt and shame. Sometimes we want to die. Sometimes we just don't want to be where we are. And we blame ourselves for the death of our babies. And nearly 99.9% of the time, we've done nothing wrong. And we really need to support ourselves, but sometimes we need help. So here are 10 ways to love yourself after pregnancy loss. Okay, number 1, we allow ourselves to be human. We let ourselves understand that the traumatic event we just experienced is life-changing, and because of that, we will never be the same. So we really need to allow ourselves to bounce between all the stages. Yes, there are 5 stages of grief. And what we were taught as kids is you go through them in an order. The first being denial. But let me tell you, we are going to bounce back. You are going to bounce in between every single stage. I mean, I still do. We really need to let our grief be. We need to cry, scream, process by talking to people. We yell, we're angry, devastated, we're in despair. We feel like nothing will ever be okay again, and there's no glimmer of hope. And it's okay to go through all that. It's okay to have days where you feel it's never going to be okay again. You have to feel that way. I truly believe that. Some days you're just not going to want to be. And that's okay too. And just so you know, there's scientific evidence that tears are healing. So just know that not only is it okay to cry, it's going to help you on your healing journey. Number 2, we have to lower our expectations. We kind of need to allow ourselves to be off the hook. We can't resume normal life because life is not normal right now and may never be. We can't be responsible for everything that we were before we gave birth to our still babies. We don't have the capacity anymore. That capacity was diminished by grief. So now we can no longer handle all those things because our brains are not in the right space. And yes, it's temporarily gone. And that's something you also need to remember and remind yourself. It's all temporary. Not necessarily the grief. I believe that the grief will always be with you, but there will be different variations, different stages, different depths of your grief. Oh, excuse me. We also need to lower our expectations of others and allow them to grieve in their own way and be okay with them needing space and time to process. And that doesn't mean letting people say whatever they want to say or be mean or say shitty things. That just means, so for me, I was kind of using my husband as an example. We grieved completely different. I felt a lot of resentment. We weren't communicating. We weren't on the same page, and it was just really hard. I really needed to let him grieve in his own way, and he needed to let me grieve in mine. So that's kind of what I was talking about there. Number 3, we set boundaries. Boundaries are going to be super important for your healing journey. So some boundaries, this can look like no unwanted visitors, no millions of calls or texts, no pregnancy announcements or showers, like wanting to see them or look at them, no unsolicited advice, quiet and privacy. And if we can't hold our boundaries, that's when our significant other, our doula, our bestie, our mom or dad handles it. You need to have somebody in your corner that can hold up the boundary wall for you. Because again, you're not going to have the capacity to do it. You may at first, but then things keep hitting you. And we don't want to snap. We don't want to hurt other people because we're hurting and we couldn't maintain the boundaries. And I'm definitely not expecting you to. I couldn't maintain mine. But have somebody who knows you the best, knows what you want, but make sure you communicated what you want. Number 4, we really have to nourish our minds and bodies with food, movement, sleep, and sun. These 4 things I have found for my own healing are the most important things, and we need them every single day. It seems like they're kind of just little things that they're obvious and don't need to really talk about it. We do it, whatever. They are so important. And it can set a domino for your day so that you start the day off really well. And so something I suggest is going outside for a walk. Bring your water bottle, bring your headphones, listen to a podcast or some music, but right there, you have your water intake, you have your movement, and you have your sunshine. And those 3 things will help you for the entire day. And then all you really need to do is make sure you sleep and eat some nourishing food. So like me, I love sitting outside in the sunshine in the morning with my iced coffee and then going for a walk with my kids. Number 5, we heal our postpartum bodies. This can look like coming up with a care plan for diastasis recti, your pelvic floor, stopping lactation if you don't want to pump and save it and donate it. With the bleeding, the blood clots, hormones, there's so much that we still need to care for, and we really need to make sure that's high priority. And a lot of the times we're not going to feel like it's a priority. So again, having that person to remind you, this is what is the best thing about having a postpartum doula or your birth doula who is with you, like mine. Excuse me. They will bring you water and food and remind you what you need. They will help you um, put a really tight sports bra on, stuff some cabbage in that bra, drink peppermint tea, like all the things for. Um, there's a word that I can't think of right now for stopping lactation, but physical therapy, these types of things, like nice movement and stuff. If your provider, of course, says it's okay, but healing our postpartum bodies is going to be a huge thing, but it's also going to be the one thing that we avoid, because that postpartum body is where our baby died and we didn't get to bring them home. And that postpartum body is sometimes the reason we feel like our baby isn't here. And so either consciously or subconsciously, we know this, and it can make it take a backseat. So we just ignore it. But definite priority. Okay, number 6, get a therapist. I will always 100% recommend a therapist, always. And it can just be telehealth with you laying in bed, but having someone just be there listening, even if you don't want to talk, is healing. I can't stress that enough. Even if you don't want to talk, or even if you want to scream and yell and blame everybody or blame yourself or whatever, the worst of us. Even if you don't want people seeing the worst of you, having that therapist who can, without any bias or judgment, is also so healing. Number 7, get a haircut. And this sounds probably superficial and unnecessary, but every single time that I have given birth in my life, I have gotten a haircut. And I'm telling you, it's crucial. I don't know about you, but when I get that haircut after giving birth, I literally feel like I can conquer the world. I feel like a new person. I feel beautiful. I feel put together. I feel more of myself. And I always seem to get it cut short, like I just got a bob. But it's a self-care way. It's a self-care domino, I should say, that is just going to make your day better. It's going to make you feel so good about yourself. You'll look good, especially if it's drastic. You need to be able to feel normal. You need to be able to feel pretty. And it's really healing as well to our hearts and ourselves and loving ourselves. Number 8, we journal. Journaling is one of the oldest healing modalities. When we hurt, we write. When we're happy, we write. When we're sad, we write. It's a go-to. And most of the times in my life, my journals have all been when something has happened, bad. Not even good. How sad is that? So buy a new gorgeous journal and some new pens and just write everything. There's no right or wrong. It's literally just a way to get all your feelings, your thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas onto the page and out of your head. When you can get it on the paper, it's like your brain is relieved because it doesn't have to hold that anymore. And it gives you a little space. It's also a memory book when you want to look back and read it one day. I can't tell you how therapeutic it is to reread my words from 4 years ago when I was journaling after Evelyn died. But it's like reading somebody's diary. That's not mine, though. I don't know if that makes sense. Every time I do it, it heals me even more. And it's a really beautiful way and an easy way. And a lot of these things, guys, I'm trying to make it financially feasible, because I know when we lost Evelyn, finances were so hard because we didn't have family around. And now, to be fair, our families did send us money. We had friends and family get groceries and food and all of that. But when you have to deal with finances, when your baby dies and you have to worry about money, it's the worst thing. So I wanted to make this list accessible to just everybody, something that everybody could do. Okay, number 9, we accept help. And not only do we accept it, but we ask for it if we need to. And if we are too scared, or if we just don't want to be judged or whatever, we can ask our bestie or doula or whoever to ask everybody else, okay? That's what your helpers are there for. Setting up meal trains, house cleaning, childcare, appointments, grocery deliveries, or errand running. Everybody wants to help. They just don't know how. And so sometimes we need to help them, if you understand what I'm saying. People do better when you tell them what to do, especially in a crisis. And if you have a list, even better. People can sign up on it. That's the cool thing about the meal trains online. Everybody can sign up, pick what they want, what day, that's it. But you are going to need help. And this is one time in your life I am telling you that it is okay, even if your brain and your ego is telling you not to. Number 10, find a healthy distraction. Yep, and what I mean is join the denial train for a little bit. I think it's one of the grief books. I think it's by Grief Watch out of Portland, Oregon. Shout out to Grief Watch if this is from you. But in their little book, it has different ways, to heal and to get through the pain and all this. And it said, and this has stuck with me for the last 4 years when things get too heavy. But they said in that book to take a vacation from your grief. And that sentence confused the shit out of me. I'm like, take a vacation from your grief? What the hell does that mean? But then I realized denial wasn't a bad thing. Now, if you're stuck in it for years and years, yes. But it's a coping mechanism that our brains use to help us get through the tragedy. And I don't think I've ever been greater. I don't think I've ever been more grateful of my brain than it trying to protect me and letting me be in denial a little bit. And what I mean is that sometimes it's just too much and we need a break. So for me, it was shopping. Evelyn was born in July, and then my favorite months after were coming up for fall. So I was planning for holidays, and I love decorating. So me and the girls, it gave me something to focus on other than the death. I focused on fall. Me and the girls went and bought a bunch of pumpkin things and just fun fall stuff. And it just allowed me to focus on something for a few hours at a time. And it was nice because I knew I could always go back to Evelyn. She would always be there. And I had to learn to let my guilt go around this because I thought I needed to always be thinking of her or I was a terrible mom. And I had to heal that part of me because I realized there's no way I could go on living if I couldn't take a break from my grief every once in a while. That is one of the things that saved me. So I definitely didn't get that 10-minute mark, but I hope this was super helpful and actionable. These are things you can do any single day, and most of them are free. Know I'm here for you. If you need more resources, go to www.valenweb.com. There's a whole section just for moms who've lost babies. And I have a bunch of free stuff on there that you can get and that can help. And I love you guys so much. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Pregnancy Loss Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I created a guide on 20 ways to celebrate your angel baby. It gives you 20 amazing ways to celebrate their birthdays or ways to just remember them on any given day. If you want to download it, head over to valenweb.com/resources and click the link. I hope you guys have a great week. See you next time.